Hello, welcome to the KnitOnePurrrTwo knitting podcast episode 1. How exciting! My name is Hannah and I'm a knitter from Birmingham in the West Midlands in England, and I have watched lots of knitting podcasts during my time of being a knitter. I'm a little bit obsessed with them. It's taken over from like the Netflix addiction. It's just watching lots of lovely knitters talk about their work, and I thought, you know what, I want to have a go doing that. So yeah, I thought I'd try it out. This might be the only thing I ever do. It might not even make it onto the internet. It might not even exist into the ether. But I just thought I'd give myself a go and kind of tick it off as an idea that I've wanted to do for a while. The reason I'm doing it now is because I have a little bit more time. I should be at work now, but I haven't been there for 2 weeks because I am very, very pregnant. I am very heavily pregnant. I am actually due tomorrow at the point of recording this, but I don't think she's going to come anytime soon. I think she's going to take her sweet time. So I've been sitting at home for 2 weeks, watching lots of podcasts, doing lots of knitting, and thought, well, now's as good a time as any to do it before I lose all of my personal time and space. So yeah, this is maybe the only podcast I'll ever do, but let's see how we go. Hey, let's see how we go. So first of all, I'm going to follow the format that a lot of knitting podcasts do, with kind of what I'm wearing, finished objects, whips, acquisitions and plans, and we'll see how we get on. I actually recorded this the other day, and in my living room, and it was so dark. It was only like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and like as the recordings go on, it's just, I've got like lamps on and it's just so dark and it's awful, even though my cat was in it. So my cat isn't here. One of my cats isn't here, but at least we can see what we're doing now. I'm in the spare room in where we used to where we've got a desk, and we used to do lots of I did lots of crafty things and stuff, but now it's kind of yeah, you're in the messy bit. You can see all the messy stuff behind us is basically what I'm saying. It's quite nerve-wracking talking to yourself on a camera, gotta say. Not used to it. So yeah, let's just jump right in. So what I'm wearing, I did not make this, unfortunately. I bought this from a charity shop the other day. It's Laura Ashley. It's cashmere. So I didn't make this jumper, although it is gorgeous, isn't it? And what a lovely colour. And I have just bought some yarn this colour. So we'll see if lavendery lilac tones are going to come back into my wardrobe a little bit more. But I did make this. I did knit this. This is the Hide and Peak Snood, should I say, by Beautiful Knitters, who are an incredible yarn shop in London. If you've not been there, you need to go. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's possibly my favourite knitting shop, yarn shop. I'm going to say that quite a few times, so probably over the course of this episode, but actually Beautiful Knitters has a hold on my heart because Karen and Serrana are so lovely there, and really make us feel welcome, and the range of yarns they have there is gorgeous and really varied, and it's just a beautiful shopping experience. So definitely check them out and check their website out if you can't get down to London in person. So this is the Hide and Peak cowl, and it is made, I'm starting off very bougie because this is made with the most expensive yarn I've ever bought, which is the Cardiff Cashmere Classic. It comes in 25 grams for about £15-ish, but the colours are gorgeous. It goes a long way actually. It's a fingering weight yarn or a 4-ply yarn, and it does go a long way. This cowl took 2 balls, and it was a delight to knit with. Of course it was, because it's cashmere. It's like a chain net style yarn. I knitted it really quickly. I made it between Christmas and New Year, I think, last year. I wear it a lot. I wear it a lot for work. I'm a teacher, and my classroom's usually really cold in the morning and then really hot in the afternoon. So you have to like dress in layers. I'll just show you this up close. I have to kneel. So this is the stitch pattern of the Hide and Peak cowl. So it's almost like a basket weave, but it's not actually, and it kind of creates more of like a step pattern, I guess. So you can kind of follow the knits and purl squares going across it, and then it has a little kind of I-cord, these little loops at the top, so you just knit it in the round, really easy. It's actually a free pattern on the website, so you wouldn't have to knit it in this yarn, you can knit it in any fingering weight yarn, and yeah, it's a free pattern, so it's definitely worth checking out. The loops are there so that you can actually put them over your ears, and I've just put lipstick on, so I don't really want to do this, but you can wear it, imagine snugged up in the winter, walking the dog, or do whatever you do outside in the winter. I don't go out that much in the winter, I just stay at home and knit. But it's quite a practical piece as well, is what I'd say. You know, I'm not massively into cowls, I'm not like a big cowl person, but this one I do wear a lot because I find that it's light and it keeps me warm, but it's not like making me hot and sweaty a lot of the time. Beautiful Knitters have free patterns on their website, and also if you make any purchase of any yarn, they will give you a free Beautiful Knitters pattern in your basket, and it just automatically takes it off, which is amazing because we're all aware that pattern design is a huge endeavour. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort, a lot of thought, a lot of knowledge and technique. So the fact that you can also get them for free is like a real little bonus, and they're gorgeous, traditional, traditionally like inspired but very contemporary looking patterns. I really recommend checking out Beautiful Knitters for sure, because they're just lovely in every way. This is the Hide and Peak cowl, Snood, Hide and Peak Snood, and that's what I'm wearing. That's the first bit done. Hey, doing okay, talking to myself in a room, it's going well. Okay, the cardigan's come off, because it has got warm in here. This room has got like a really big lovely window, and even in mid-November it lets a lot of like sun in, which can mean that it gets quite warm in here, but I don't want to open the window because we live quite close to a main road, and it's like where a lot of cars really zoom up and down, so I don't want to hear, you know, ruin the experience with boy racers. So yeah, okay, so I'm going to show you some finished objects. I'm going to show you 3 that I have. I've been knitting like crazy during this summer. Since finding out I was pregnant, I kind of left it a little while just in case anything happened, and then when I found out we were having a girl at 16 weeks, I kind of went a bit like, right, now I can plan the knits, the handmade clothes for this child. So I spent a lot of the summer and autumn making baby knits as opposed to adult garments, although I do have some adult garments to show you in my whips as well. It's in this big pile here. I've noticed that, well, thinking about it actually, when I set the frame up, I was like, do knitters do this so they have them all on show? And I don't think they do, but I haven't got loads of room, and this is the reality of knitting, I guess. So yeah, I'm just gonna like dive into this pile and start off with this first finished objects here. This is my first, oh, it looks so cute on the camera, my first finished objects, which I finished a couple of weeks ago now, maybe 2 weeks ago, just when I started my maternity leave, I finished it. And this is the Serrana kids sweater here. It's actually a test knit, but it's coming out very soon, so I think it's okay to show. And this is by, and I'm gonna say her name wrong, even though she's one of my like loveliest Instagram knitting friends, I guess. Her name is Sandra Magalhães, who's a Portuguese designer, and if you do not know her work, then I don't know where you've been, especially if you knit a lot of kids wear or baby wear, because she has the monopoly of the most beautiful, cutest patterns. You definitely need to try her out. This is how you say her shop name, and I've written lots of things down about different patterns so I don't forget and jabber on too much. But as I said, this was a test knit. I've test knit for Sandra before on about 3 projects, and to be honest, every single time I've test knit them, there's not been any issues with the pattern. They're so thorough, they are so broad, and really fantastic beginner's patterns actually. And if you are somebody who wants to try kids wear, or like me has the opportunity now to do so because you're actually going to use it, or you're somebody who has like lots of single balls of yarn, or like a couple of balls like I do, you know, in a sale, I'm like, oh, I'll just get 2, and then I'm like, I can't make a garment out of this. Kids wear is great for that. And her patterns are just phenomenal for beginners, but also for adding in extra little details and techniques that for more intermediate knitters that you might not have necessarily done that much of. Like, for example, short rows. I learned how to do short rows because of Sandra. This stitch, this mosaic stitch, I've never done before. I've not done much colour work, and this looks like colour work, but it is not colour work. It is actually just made using slip stitches and 2 colours, and I think it's a 4-row repeat, so super simple to remember, and then you can just whiz it out really quickly because it's knitted top down in the round, and then obviously you pick up for the sleeves and then do the sleeves separately. So I knitted it on. Even though it's an Aran weight pattern, my gauge is really, no, not my gauge. Is it my gauge? My tension? My tension, I guess, as a knitter is quite loose. So I have to knit things on much smaller needles. So this was actually knitted on 3.25s, even though I think the pattern calls for 4mm, possibly 5mm. I think it's more like 4mm. But anyway, it does meet the size that it should for 3 to 6 months. This is a 3 to 6 months pattern, and I can't wait for my little girl to wear it. I just thought awesome colours, like little retro inspired pattern. I love it. I loved the opportunity to test knit for her, and it was amazing. So thank you, Sandra, for letting me do so. It's actually a collaboration as well, the pattern, with Fox and Folk. So they're going to bring out a collection, and this was like the first one that came out, was the Serrana. Lovely little rib collar and rib sleeves. And when I saw it, I was like, right, I'd love to do that, but I don't have any Aran weight yarn in my stash, which I was quite shocked at. I think I de-stashed a lot of like acrylic-y, like lower quality Aran maybe last year. So I was like, I'm gonna have to buy some. Oh, the drama of having to buy more yarn. So I went onto the drop sale. There was a drop sale at the time, of course there was, because there always is, to tempt us back in. And there wasn't any left at Wool Warehouse, which is where I usually get drops from. That's where I started getting drops yarn from. But I got it from Laughing Hens, and it came so quickly. It came in like 2 days, and I think Laughing Hens are up north, and it was during the postal strikes, and I'm in Birmingham, so I'm centre, and it came in like 2 days. It was amazing. I bought so many colours, and it will be in my acquisition section. But I had options. Basically, I had options, and I went with the mustard and the orange, because as I was walking home from school at this point when I started it, the colours of the trees were so gorgeous, and I thought I really got to acknowledge this time of year with a lovely autumnal colour palette. As you can see here, it's really fluffy, it's come out really soft, and there's a really lovely halo on it, and the orange is a mix, so it's got some greens and yellows and blacks and stuff in there as well. Just hold it up and see if I can get it. Versus the yellow, which is like a flat block colour. And drops do this. They have the uni-colour and then the mix colours too, the shades. And what I found is that their shade range and their palette is the same really, but for all different yarns. So if you like this but you don't like working Aran or whatever, but you like these colours, then they have it in everything else. So this is a Serrana kid sweater. Are we obsessed? Is it the cutest thing you've ever seen? Possibly. But we're gonna stay with the cute. The cute factor's gonna stay. So that's my first finished object. I actually used 50 grams of orange and 29 grams of yellow. So it's a two ball project. And if it's working out £3.40 a ball-ish, you know, you're getting a garment for less than £7, a hand knitted, jumper for a babe that can be cherished for just £7. So I think that's important to think about really when we're talking about knitting, isn't it? Is that it's quite an expensive hobby at first because you've got to buy all the tools and the materials, but that's high quality yarn. It's got natural fibres in there, and it goes a long way. Okay, my second finished object is actually with the same yarn, because I ordered so much yellow. Yellow is my favourite colour. I wear a lot of mustard. Actually, is it my favourite colour? I think it's my favourite colour to wear, but I'm an art teacher, so you can't really ask an art teacher their favourite colour because every colour is their favourite colour. And they all do such different things. But because of loving this mustard, I was like, I need to keep going with that, and I had bought more of that colour. So I knitted a little baby Aosta cardigan, which, if you do not know what the Aosta range is, where have you been? It is by the Knit Pearl Girl, of course. Sophie at Knit Pearl Girl makes amazing patterns, same as Sandra. She usually knits adult, designs adult patterns, but she started making some baby ones, and it came at the most perfect time. I couldn't believe it. I'm obsessed with the fact that there's a little version of an Aosta, so I had to knit it. And this is knitted in Drops Air again in the colourway yellow, and this is actually the newborn size. I don't know why it's bobbling there, because in real life it's not doing that. See, I think it's just how I'm holding it, to be honest. So this is the newborn size, and if I hold it up with a Serrana, which is 3 to 6 months, even though I knitted it on the same size needle as 3.25s again because of my loose tension, it's basically the same. Look, it's the same size. Now, that is not a comment on either Sandra or Sophie's knitting pattern measurements or whatever. It's to be honest, it shows you. See how my brain just doesn't work at the moment because all the nutrients are not going into my head, they're going into my tummy. It just shows the variation of baby sizing, because actually what I found from buying lots of baby clothes second hand and from charity shops I've been given them and things like that over the last 6 months or so is that baby wear especially really varies in its sizing and the size and the general look. So you can have like a newborn size in one shop, but it's more a 3 to 6 in another, or a 6 to 9 in another, or like there's a, you know, like even like I have bought some 12-month stuff that's really cute and it's got in the loft, but that can be really small or it can be massive. So I'm not too worried about gauge when it comes to knitting for babe, because I just think she'll wear it when it fits her. And because they grow so quickly, it's not for a long amount of time anyway, so we don't need to worry so much about like positive ease, negative ease. She's probably going to stick up in it, isn't she? So we're just going to whack it on for the, for the photos and for the warmth and for the cuteness, and then, you know, the next week she might be too big for it. So all of that to say, this is the newborn size. It is gorgeous. Again, it's in the top down pattern, and then you pick up for the button band and obviously knit the sleeves separately. And it was just lovely. The Andalusian stitch that Sophie uses for Aosta is really easy to remember. And it's not just boring stockinette, so you're not just going like round and round. Even on this size, I can kind of sometimes get a bit bored and want the pattern to be finished. But actually, looking at it, it's a 4-row repeat, and it's really simple, so really beginner friendly. And if you don't want to start doing an adult version, and you don't have necessarily the yarn for it, or whatever, then definitely I recommend knitting a little baby version because it's so cute. I'm actually going to call this the Big Bird cardigan. Now, 2 things on that. One, because when I was born, and my brother was 4 at the time, he came running into the hospital and with a big bouquet of flowers, and he was so happy. The photos, he's never been so happy to see me since, to be honest. So cute. And then when he was asked what he wanted to call me, he said Big Bird. And that's kind of like a story in the family. To be fair to him, I am a bit of a big bird because I'm like 5'8", and currently I'm also far out too. And yeah, Mum calls me like the cuckoo baby because she's like 5'2" and I'm this like ginormous thing next to her. So it's always stuck with me really, this big bird thing. And obviously having my own little babe, I just thought this wool really reminded me, the colour really reminded me of Big Bird, so it's the Big Bird cardigan to me. And I don't know how people feel about this with naming their garments, if they're this neurotic or ridiculous. I quite like to name my garments once I've knitted them. And sometimes I call them like, oh, the baby Aosta, or I call it the Serrana. But also I like to give them my own little names. This is the Big Bird cardigan. And this, I think I was calling it the waffle jumper, because it's got like a waffle pattern. But also it reminds me of like a retro brownies uniform, like a 1960s, 1970s brownies, like the guides, you know, like the little guides. So let me know, do you like name your garments a different name? I think some people on Ravelry do that and some people don't, but yeah, this is the Big Bird cardigan. It should be called the Baby Bird cardigan really, but there we go. The last finished objects I'm going to quickly show you, just because it's quite a large size project, and it's not kids wear. It's just this blanket that I've knitted, and actually when I hold it up you can really see where I've woven that ending, because I am not the person that listens to advice that says always start a new ball on the end of a row. I didn't do that, and you can tell, and I was like, no, it'd be fine. and obviously you can see it. So we're just gonna hope. I think you can see on the other side too, yeah. Anyway, this is called, I'm calling it the Flump Blanket, because it reminds me and my husband of those marshmallow flumps that you get from the shop. I don't know, I'm not into, my husband really likes. And this is knitted in Serrana Snuggly Sweetie yarn in the colourway Dolly Mixture, and they do loads of different colourways. Some of them are just completely block colour, and some of them have got these patterns to them, and I just went for the pattern because I can't resist. This is so squishy, this blanket. It is super squish factor, and it's really easy to wash and to maintain. I knitted one for my friend whose son is now 1. I knitted one when he was born, and I've just done him a bigger one for his first birthday, and she says that he has it every day, like it's his blanket that he goes to. He loves how like cuddly it is and how warm it is and how squishy it is, and it's a really easy pattern. So if you're thinking about doing a baby blanket for somebody, I wouldn't go with a dub on it, because why would you do that to yourself? This is actually knitted on 6mm, so it's more like a chunky wool, and it takes 2 balls to do about this size. Mine's more square. The one I did for my friend was more rectangular, because I didn't cast on as many stitches, so I could just go further, I guess. But this is 2 balls, and it's 50 stitches across, I told you. And if you've not knitted a pom-pom blanket before, you knit 2 stitches and then you have the pom-pom. Then you knit 2 stitches in the pom-pom, and it's just garter. So it's really easy, mindless, meditative knit to do while you're watching telly. You've got some time on your hands. I started it in the summer, or just before the summer, and then it got way too hot in this British heat wave we had in 2022. So I just finished it in about an hour and a half. I just did that last ball. I was like, right, I'm going to bang this out now. This baby's going to arrive, and she can't have a half finished blanket with like a knitting needle sticking through it. So I just went for it. And yeah, it looked really quickly. I got this yarn from City Knits in Bourneville, which is in South Birmingham, close to where I live, where Cadbury World is. There you go. Lovely little village. It's really gorgeous. And they again are probably like my favourite knitting shop, my favourite local knitting shop for sure. They have a huge range of budget yarns, more expensive things that you can kind of splurge on. Their knowledge, I think it's 3 sisters that run it, and it's a family business that they've had in the family for 2 generations, I think, and they have so much knitting knowledge that you can go in and ask. And when I'm in there chatting away for ages, people always come in and say, oh, I'm thinking about starting crocheting, I'm thinking about starting knitting, and they're just so helpful. So check out City Knits, their website is great too, their range is fantastic. This yarn was $8.99 for a ball, so it was 2 balls. So again, it's not too bad for a gift, I guess, price wise, and I think it's quite effective. Like, people, when you give it to them or when you see it, it's like, oh my gosh, you've knitted that, just because it's squishy, it's big, it's chunky, and I think kids love it too, and it's easy care. So yeah, that's my 3rd project. Just checking out, miss anything else out. Oh, it's very squishy, I've said that. Weaving in ends is a bit of a pain with this yarn, I'd say. As I just said earlier, I'm not really into the whole being sensible and doing it at the end and staying neat, so I've kind of got some ends in here that I need to sort out. I'm just going to tuck it in, and like, life's too short, isn't it? So I just tuck it in. There is a really good tutorial to knit pom-pom wool by Black Sheep Yarns, which is, I think, again, another northern company, and they have a really good YouTube video about how to knit these blankets. So I tried that out. Definitely worth doing. I'll pop a picture in as well of the one that I knitted for my friend's son, because it's a different colourway, and that was knitted in Rico Pom-Pom yarn. So very similar, just a different colourway, but a really cool colourway, especially for baby boys. So yeah, those are my finished objects. Whew, I love talking about yarn, and usually I'm talking about it to my husband and he's like, cool, and he does listen, as I have to listen to him talk about American football and American politics. But it's nice to just, you know, have a little bit of space to talk about it to people who actually are interested, I'd say. Yeah, okay, finished objects, done. Okay, so I'm going to show you some works in progress now. I have a little pile of works in progress. I thought I was a monogamous knitter, and I kind of used to pride myself on that. And then this year has been a bit crazy. I started it trying to stash bust and was working monogamously on projects. And then when I found out I was pregnant in like March, from then on I was quite poorly. Like, I had really bad nausea and then really bad morning sickness up until like 19 weeks. And it sounds silly, but the rhythm of knitting was making me feel quite motion sick, which it sounds ridiculous and does definitely sound like a first world problem. But it meant that I didn't knit for a while at the beginning, and a lot of my projects that I'd started for myself, I stopped around like March, April time. So I couldn't handle it, especially one project I'm going to show you, which is knitted with an alpaca yarn. And it was quite a strong smell. I was quite shocked. It's a Drops, it's Melody from Drops. I'll show you in a minute. And yeah, I took it on holiday with me to Wales, and I couldn't believe that the smell really turned my stomach. I didn't think, it does still smell like alpaca-y. Not that I've gone around sniffing alpacas, but it does have a natural smell to it, and I was quite shocked. So there's a few things that have been abandoned for a while that I'm going to show you. I'm going to just show you a couple though at the moment. Should I show you this one first? Yeah, I'll show you this one first. It's in my hand. So it's in an Emma ball bag. That sounded rude, didn't it? It's in an Emma ball designed project bag here, which has llamas and alpacas on it and sheep. Obsessed. I love alpacas. They're so cute. I've like walked with them a few times, on those little farms. Obsessed. And this is actually knitted in Drops Melody, which was one of the first yarns I bought. It was in my stash, gathering dust, and I was like, I've got to use that colour because I'm obsessed. Again, it's yellow. It's in the colourway yellow, I think, or vanilla. It's vanilla. I remember that. Do you know what? These yarn companies, they get you, don't they, with these food-based shades and these patterns. Oh my gosh, because it's just, they know what we want. And this is actually, I've got this, I haven't pulled this out of this bag for a long time, so it looks pretty awful, I've got to say. At this point, it's all like wrinkled up. And this is the Sunshine Impressions cardigan by Drops. It's a free pattern on their website. If you do not use Drops websites for patterns, then you should look and try them because they're free, and there's like hundreds of thousands on there. And what I'd say is they're great for beginners because they're free. You're not having to like invest in something and then think, oh, actually this isn't going to fit me, or I've done this wrong, or whatever. You can kind of like, you're not putting a lot of an extra bit of money into it once you've bought the yarn and stuff. But what I would say is they are a Norwegian company, I think, that is then, and all their patterns are then translated. So sometimes you have to like really concentrate, and I have to like turn the telly off and be like, don't talk to me, to my husband, and really say out loud, especially for things like repeat rows and stuff. I have to say out loud and write, put notes on the patterns. But to be honest, it's like, it's fine, like I've knitted a lot of Drops patterns before. So this is the Sunshine Impressions. They also have a jumper version of it, and I've got some really cute vintage buttons in here that I bought from a wool shop in Welshpool, and I didn't know which ones I wanted, so I bought like loads of them. But they're going to have some like beautiful cream vintage buttons on, some big ones. It's a cropped cardigan. I'm not going to try it on because there's like there's a stitch holder there, and it's on some DPMs over here. As you can see, it's been like abandoned for a while. But on the back it does have this lovely, I think it looks like a paw print pattern going across the back, and then on the front actually. And then here we go, and then the sleeves are just plain, and I think they're capped and they're like a balloon from what I can remember. It's very soft. It does smell, those are the buttons, it does smell natural. The Melody, if I can find the ball, is 74% alpaca. No, sorry, 71% alpaca, 25% wool, 4% polyamide, just to hold it all together. Very soft and squishy. It's almost like a mohair, like a chunky mohair. But I think this is better for people who can't stand mohair, because mohair can be itchy and alpaca's much softer. So that's a good tip for people who do not like mohair. What I will say about this is I have definitely messed up the pattern on the back, the stitch pattern. So some of them I was like, oh screw it, I'll just because it was top down, I was increasing on the raglan. It's fluffy yarn. I think I was doing it while I started to feel a bit nauseous, and a few of them are slightly out, but it doesn't really matter, and you can't tell. And I think a part of me psychologically has been like abandoning it, because I've thought, well, it's not knitted right because I've not done the pattern. But do you know what? I've been watching lots of Retro Claude on YouTube, who's an incredible knitter. You should definitely check her out. And a few times she's been like, oh, I didn't have the right size needles, so I will use with what I had, and or like this yarn was slightly different, so I changed it this way. And I thought, you know, why am I being so strict with myself about this? So actually, looking at this, I know I'm going to get loads of wear out of it because the colour is just totally my thing. Oh my God. It's such a gorgeous colour. I know it's more like a spring or summer object, garment. What do you call it? Piece. But no, I'm gonna try and finish this before Christmas and see how it falls. I think I need it in a medium. That looks quite weird though, doesn't it? We'll see. As I said, it hasn't been out of the bag since Easter, I think. Yeah, end of April, when I went to Barmouth with my family. So yes, this is the Sunshine Impressions. It's definitely a whip. I really gotta do the sleeves though. Isn't that silly? Sleeve island problems, isn't it really? Yeah. So my second whip is this lovely green thing here. It's in another one of my project bags it's been stuffed in. I am knitting on this at the moment, so it's you know, a live whip more so than the Custard cardigan. That's what I'm calling that one, the Custard cardigan. This is an adult Aosta, hooray! I started this in October last year when I was off work sick and had some time. I was like, I'm doing it. I've got to have an Aosta. I've got to have a Knit Pearl Girl garment in my life. So started this with some yarn that I bought during lockdown, which is Sublime Phoebe, which I think has been discontinued now. It's a chunky yarn. Sublime is owned by Serrana, so don't be thinking that it's another different company. It's not. You can get some Sublime wool still on their website. I think they're cashmere merino silk. Might still be Sublime actually. But this was in the sale. I think I bought it from Abercarn, which is amazing. Like more like a chain store. There's one in Shrewsbury that we always go to when we visit Shrewsbury. But they have a really good website and they have really good sales across like fabrics, haberdashery, knitwear. Like it's a big craft store basically. So I bought the Sublime from there. I just love the colour. I bought it online, and I'm not somebody necessarily who does lots of online shopping for yarn. I do like to go into local yarn stores and give it the squish factor, the sniff factor. And also I find that when I do order things, you know, when the colours are different than you expect, and you think, oh. But at this point, I was like, I just like it because it's vibrant. I like the colours. I do like colour. I wear a lot of colour. I wear a lot of pattern on pattern. The kids at school are like, Miss, only you could wear what you wear, which I think is a compliment, but it does sound like a criticism, doesn't it? So this brilliant lime green, I was calling this the key lime pie sweater last year, but now because it's Christmas, I think it's gonna be more like the Grinch sweater because it is a little bit Grinchy, isn't it? I've knitted both sleeves. I abandoned it again when I found out I was pregnant, I think. Or like before Christmas or something. I think I was gift knitting and was like, I don't have time to be a selfish knitter. I need to gift knit and do all this stressful stuff and make loads of hats. And then unfortunately got put in my whip pile, and I just separated for the sleeves. So when I picked it up about a week ago, I was like, I've done this wrong. I think that's why I'd abandoned it. And actually I hadn't done it wrong. I think I was one stitch out for one sleeve. So for all this time I've been thinking, oh, I'm going to have to really sit down with that Aosta and work out where I've done it wrong. No, I hadn't done it wrong. But I did have some brain power to work it out. This is a small. I'm knitting it on 7mm because this was before I realised my tension was slightly off. But to be honest, because I'm a loose knitter, it's knitting more like the medium. I wear a medium more, so I'm like a size 12 to 14 ish, like 12 probably, and I do like a little bit more space in my clothes, so even though I'm knitting the small, because of my tension, it's coming out like a medium. I've got to this point because I knitted the sleeves first because one I heard that as a tip when I started doing top down stuff, and it does make sense if you have limited yarn, because obviously if you knit the body and then you go to knit the sleeves and you haven't got enough, like you can work it out better in that way, and it's better to have a cropped body than have like odd sleeves. So I've finished the sleeves. I did those last week whilst binging Grey Pottery Throwdown on All 4, and I haven't done much balloon sleeve work. I know it's really trendy, and I came into the knitting world in about 2019 properly. I I was really scared by Instagram and really scared of like how everybody was making these like really over exaggerated super chunky knits. So I bought lots of super chunky yarn and realised that it just makes me look like a bowling ball. So I haven't done much chunky stuff for a while, but this is just like the perfect like it just, I think it just is going to look good for proportion as well, because we have these balloon sleeves and then this, you know, the sudden decrease. It looks like a hot water bottle here actually. If I hold it like this, it does look a bit like a hot water bottle cover. It's not. It's a fabulous Aosta sleeve, but the yarn is very, very soft. It's 96% merino and or 94% merino and 6% nylon to hold it together. And again, it's a chainette yarn, so I'm finding that it's super stretchy. Can you see that? So tension is going to be like different anyway. And we'll see how we go. I do like top downs because it means you can try them on. And I started knitting by doing like piecework, like, or patch work knitting. I don't know, when you knit the back, then you knit the front separately, and then you knit the sleeves and you sew it all together. Just because that's kind of how my mum had learned, and then those are the patterns that I was seeing during lockdown, and those were the patterns that I was buying because I was buying yarn from people like King Cole and Starcraft and Custard, and that they work in pieces. But actually, top down is so great, isn't it? Because it's, you haven't got to think as much. Once you get past the yoke, you're sailing. You're sailing? You're winning? I don't know. A phrase that means you're doing all right. And it means you can try it on as well. What I am finding is, obviously, at the moment, because of this bump, have we forgotten about the bump? Have I mentioned it enough? I've got to this point, but I'm not going to know how far down I need to go. I've only got this much yarn of one ball and one more ball left. And they're only 40 grams. And I think in that 40 gram ball, you get 96 metres, 105 yards. So I haven't got that much. So I'm going to have to try and keep this ball, do the rib bottom, because I think that's going to take up quite a lot. I think it's like 12 rows of rib. So I think the plan is to just knit the rest of this as the Andalusian stitch and then just start the rib and hope that I've got enough. Because really a cropped body with a balloon sleeve, I think is going to look good. And I had to add some length onto the sleeves because I have such super long arms as well. So I did add a little bit on from Sophie's pattern. The Aosta patterns currently, she's just revised. So if you currently have an existing one that you've bought off Ravelry or from her website, then she sent you through the revised version for free, which is lovely of her, which has more sizes in it, and it has options for short rows, I think, for the back. I haven't got short rows on this. I didn't know what they were when I started doing this, but definitely you should check out Knit Pearl Girl patterns because they're super like beginner friendly and super contemporary, but simple. You know, they're like a nice piece to have in your wardrobe. Yeah, this is my Aosta. I hope I'm going to finish very soon. I could finish this today. I could have finished it this weekend. However, I'm using it as my fake out knit because it's really obvious and big. And I'm currently working on a Christmas present for my husband, which is some socks, which I'm calling the sneaky socks. They're in this little bag. He's definitely realised because it's so obviously a knitting bag. It's got some stitch markers in there from No Frills Knitting. Meg from No Frills Knitting, love her. Beautiful shop, definitely try it out. These are the Simple 4-ply sock by Winwick Mom. Again, it's a free pattern. A colleague from work gave it to me and was like, you need to knit socks and you should try them. And I was like, oh, I am never going to know how to do this. Also, what's the point in knitting socks? Because they just go on your feet. Now I know. Would you put on a homemade sock? Oh, aren't they just gorgeous? And I've actually got them down here because I just took them off. I've knitted them. They're not necessarily finished objects. I did them ages ago. But this is the same pattern. They're huge though because, again, my tension was off. I was knitting them on like 325s, which is what the yarn calls for. Then I realised that that's not how you should measure tension, Hannah. And actually I'm knitting these on, I think on 3s and 275s, so they're hopefully going to be more snug for him. But these are just like my around the house socks. This is in West Yorkshire Spinners, 4-ply signature in the colourway Kingfisher, because we love Kingfishers in my family. My mum loves them. And I love knitting them because just self patterning, self striping yarn is so lovely to work with. I think when you're working on a smaller needle as well, because it means that you're not getting bored. Visually, it makes me feel good to like not look at one colour all at once. Don't know what that says about me. This is the yarn that I'm knitting it with. Again, West Yorkshire Spinners, 4-ply signature 4-ply, 4-ply signature 4-ply, in the colourway Mallard. I'm aware that the light is going now because I've been recording for so long. And it's just perfect for my husband. I remember picking it up because I wanted all the bird collection. I've also think I've got blue tit up there in my stash. And the robin one's gorgeous too. And this wood pigeon. They're just all beautiful. It smells so sheepy. They are 75% wool. I think part of that is Blueface Leicester. Do I have the thing here? Probably not. And then the other section is 25% nylon, so they're hard wearing. But I love West Yorkshire Spinners sheepiness. And they come out really soft. Those Kingfisher socks I wear like nearly every day, and they've just like not worn at all. I have washed them. I'm not going to sniff those ones though. But this is the Mallard colourway. You can see here, I'm knitting for my husband. It's very his colours, like very vintagey, ochres and forest greens and navy and burgundy. The thing that I've done wrong though, I think, by following, I follow the Winwick Mom 4-ply pattern. Again, it's free on her blog. She has loads of free sock patterns on there, which are more simple if you've not done it before, different weights of yarn, but also more detailed and intricate pattern work as well. And I was also following a blog called The Flying Squirrel, which was talking about knitting for larger sizes. So I've kind of been like checking them both against each other as I've worked. And I think I've knitted I've just, for the Winwick Mom pattern, I've knitted too much length in the body, because it's leg down, what's the phrase? I don't know. Not toe up, basically, leg down. And comparing it to my Kingfisher sock, which is for me, there's definitely like a couple more rows in this one. So I'm worried I'm going to run out, because I just had like a small, I've got a bit left of the Kingfisher. My stash is over there, so I'm looking at. I'm worried I'm going to run out, but I do have, of course I do, I have this like chestnutty ochre colour in the same yarn, in the signature 4-ply. So I might do the toes in that, because I think they'll match. But I just love it. I love this yarn because it's just really ingenious how it patterns, and they're snazzy. And I haven't had to work for it. I've just followed the pattern and got in the round. And I've knitted them on shorties. These are just ponies, which I think are about £2.60. Not very much money at all, but they are plastic if you're not into plastic needles. One is smaller, one is longer. They're a 3mm, but I also have a 2.5, I think, or 2.75. I started the rib on DPNs and then was like, I can't be bothered to do DPNs all the way. So found the shorties and just went with it. And yeah, they look fine. I think they're probably a little bit bigger, like gauge-wise, but he has size 8 feet, so I feel like, you know, and also baggy socks are fine, right? It's better to have a baggy sock than have a loose sock. One thing that I think is a good tip, and people will be really aware of this and be like, oh yeah, I'll do that all the time. I've been doing that since the beginning. How have you not done that? But I saw that Rebecca from Craya Bayer podcast does this on her sleeves, and I'd never do it on my sleeves before because I'm an idiot, and I just have to count from like the arm every single time I need to count. But I've just put little stitch markers every 10 rows. And that way I know that I've got like, I had to get to 60, I think, for this. Why had I not thought of that before? So if you don't do that, start doing it, because it makes you feel like you're ticking things off really quickly as well. Yeah, but these are my sneaky socks. So I'm trying to get them done like while he's not at work, or while he's like in the shower or you know, playing on Call of Duty. But then the other day he like came upstairs to tell me something really quick, and I was like, oh, panics, and I had to like shove this under the duvet because I was in bed and get the big Aosta out and pretend that I was knitting on that. He knows this Aosta is not taking me that long. It's chunky wool. He knows I'm a quick knitter in those senses. So yeah, but that's probably as rogue as I go in our relationship, you know, is knitting him some secret socks for Christmas. And depending on how much time I have between now and when baby arrives and then Christmas, I just hope I don't like only have one sock to give him. I really want to get through them. I really want to give him 2 socks to wear. So we'll see. Fingers crossed I'll be able to do so. Cool. So those are my whips, I think. I have other whips, of course I do, because what knitter does not have more than 3 whips on the go. But for now, I'm just going to show you those because this is getting really long. And I'm getting very chatty. And this video could be 2 hours long at this rate. So those are my whips right now. Okay, so I'm going to very quickly go through acquisitions. I've got a few acquisitions that I'm waiting to arrive in the post because, you know, I was awake at 2 a.m. this morning, not being able to sleep because baby was kicking, and I was thinking, oh, I'll just have a quick look on some websites for some yarn. So I have done a couple of orders that I'm waiting for. But I'll show you what I have now. As I said earlier, I have loads of Drops Air because I couldn't choose the colours, and I was like, oh, it's so cheap. It was, I think, 30% off at the time. They have one on at the moment as well, which is for like their wool-based yarns. So check that out for sure. So I have basically every colour of Drops Air. I have this green, I have this blue, I have this blue. Look at that blue. I mean, look at that colour palette. Let me just turn that around. And as I said before, being really into colour, and colour being a big part of my life, being an art teacher and, you know, doing an art degree and all this, I'm really like in love with it, and it really takes over my decision making for things. So when I'm buying things, I'm like, oh, but those colours go so well together. I don't knit too many like neutrals. I do knit quite a lot of like bright things. This is probably like the most subtle colour that I have worked with. So yeah, I just went a bit crazy. I have this pink. I mean, look at that. Are we, you know, anyone that grew up in like 90s Disney should be really enjoying the fact that these are very like, they just remind me of like Disney colours, like very vibrant, very Zazu from Lion King, right? I have some yellow, of course I do, left over. I have some more of the rust, a little bit of the rusty orange colour that I knitted the Serrana in. I'm holding like a child. And then I have like one ball of grey because I felt like I had to do that contemporary knitting thing and buy a grey. But yeah, if anyone has any ideas of what to knit with all this air, I think I have like, I think I'm just going to do like a stripy jumper, top down. I have this much, random colours. And I think I can't really plan it that much. I'm going to have to just go for it and just almost pretend it's like a scrappy jumper. But realistically, it's just because I went a bit crazy, ordering lots of different colours. Yeah. And as I said, I haven't knitted a lot for myself recently. I mean, I've obviously shown 2 whips, but I haven't knitted on those for a few months. So I feel as if, like I'm doing a bit of a selfish knit. I can knit a selfish knit. And I could knit it DK, probably more so, just because of my tension. But yeah, nice fluffy soft wool. I have loads of Drops Air. I'm a big charity shopper. I always have been. My nan instilled it into me with my mum, and me and my mum love a charity shop haul. And she wouldn't admit that necessarily to some people. Some people she's proud of it. I'm proud of it to everybody. Anytime somebody says, I like that outfit, I go, thanks, it's free. It was £3.70 from Cancer Research. You know, I'm proud of my charity shopping ways. And it's really good if you're a knitter because there's usually lots of patterns, lots of vintage patterns, or more contemporary ones too. And there's usually some yarn. Sometimes it's not great, but sometimes you get a real beautiful little find. So this was £5, this find. It comes in this box. See, £5, I'm not lying. It comes in this box, and I was like, Mum. Like across the shop, I was like, giving her the eyes. Look at this. This is some vintage yarn by Patons called Fuzzy Wuzzy. I mean, come on, how adorable. I got this in Leamington Spa, very good place to charity shop if you are into that type of thing. And it's 55% Angora, 45% wool, made in Great Britain by Patons and Baldwin's Limited, in shade Lemon. I don't know when it's from. I would really love to know if it's like 40s. No, it's not going to be 40s because I don't think, because Angora and wool, I feel like it's got to be post like rationing. I don't know, acting like I know, acting like I'm retro Claude. This is the yarn I bought, and I know it's yellow again. I know that there's a yellow thing there, and I've just knitted a yellow thing for the baby, but I couldn't not. Annoyingly, there's not 8 balls because I think there should be, but somebody started a project and then probably abandoned it. But they are the most cute little balls of yarn. Oh my god, look at them, look at it. I mean, I might not even knit with it. I might just put it in in a frame. That's what my mum says. She goes, do you know what, it's too nice to knit with, just put it in a frame. When we buy like hand painted indie dye yarn and stuff. And yeah, I think it's like, there's only 14 grams on it, and it's in ounces, so it's from that era where wool was done in ounces. I have absolutely no idea what to knit with this yarn. I haven't really researched that much on Ravelry. Usually I put in the amounts that I have and then see what I can get, see what's on Ravelry, what piques my interest. But it's just the most beautiful yarn. I'm also, you should knit something for the baby. The baby's not going to be able to wear this because it's so fluffy and it's just not right for babes because they can breathe it in and stuff. So you shouldn't use mohair with babies. You can just about get away with like an alpaca yarn like I have, I think, but this is not suitable for her. Also, I want to treat myself. Look at the halo. I'm obsessed. So that was £5. And it smells like nostalgia. It smells like a nan. It's like grandma smelling, like very sweet. I think it's just been in a box in someone's wardrobe or in the loft gathering dust, and I love it. So I have this random vintage yarn that I have no idea what to do with. I have lots of contemporary drops air yarn that I have no idea what to do with. I also have so much stash that one day I might do a tour of, who knows, that is so big that it's currently in a wardrobe. Like a vintage wardrobe that we call the wardrobe, because actually to be fair, half of it is only wool, and it's a small wardrobe, but I do have a lot of yarn, as all knitters do. And the plan originally was to not to buy any more stash this year, but that didn't happen because I'm a human being. So I have loads of stuff that I could knit. Oh, look at this craft that's just sitting there. I have loads of things I want to knit with, and the one thing that annoys me about knitting, really annoys my millennial brain, is that you can't knit it quicker than you buy it. I wish I could knit on. I could work with all of these yarns all day. And obviously I can at the moment a little bit more than I ever will be able to again. But I just want to use them all. I don't want to squish them all at once, and we obviously can't do that. So yeah, I have lots of sweater quantities and I have lots of random balls as well. And because I was buying a lot of baby friendly yarns this year, so I have like a little stash of still left over of like some acrylic yarn that I'm not going to use for anything else. I'm not feeling that inspired to use at the moment, so I might use some of this more fancier wool on myself. I would love to, the things that I really want to knit next, and I don't do the Q thing on Ravelry, I don't really understand it, but in my brain the Q is the Cargill cowl by Rebecca of Crea Bayer, which looks like this. If I can work out how to put a little thing in. I love when people do this and it appears. Then I realise that you actually have to do it yourself. Her patterns are gorgeous. She's got a few, I think she's got like these, she's got the Cargill jumper, which I'd love to have as well. But I think at this point in my life, with the babe on her way, there's no way I can you know, think that I'm going to get that done anytime soon. But the cowl is the same stitch pattern. It's a dipped stitch pattern, and it's just a little cowl, and it's only like £3, and the money goes to charity as well, which is lovely. So I might try that, and I might try and then use it as an excuse to use some of my fancier hand painted indie dye yarn that I have, held with some mohair, which I did just buy the other night. Bought some mohair in a sale from Knit Yarns, actually. It was from Knit, KNITT Yarns, because she's just opened a bricks and mortar shop and she had a little sale on, 20% off, so I can't get to London at the moment, so instead I bought some. So I might knit the Cargill with the mohair that comes from that. I bought some like Filcolana because I hear everyone talk about it all the time and I've never used it, so I took the chance to buy just enough to do the Cargill cowl in that. I want to knit the crescendo blouse, I think it's called, or crescendo jumper by Knit Pal Girl by Sophie. I have it, it's in my emails. I really want to knit it, but again, I bought it when it first came out and it's baby took over all my knitting projects, so I haven't had a chance to do that. But I reckon I can knit it up quite quick, because I think it's a bit like the Aosta. I think it's on, basically it's not fingering or double knit, I don't think. Maybe it's double knit, I don't know. And then for practicality reasons, I really need to knit a hat for myself, because it's getting really chilly, isn't it now? And I do have lots of hats that I've knitted / I've bought, but they were all in the hallway in a box. And then one of my cats peed in the box. So all of my hand knits that are accessories that I started my knitting journey making got cat wee on them. So we're having to go through this long process of trying to wash them. This is gross, but trying to like wash them and try and get them to the point where they can be worn again. I don't know if that's going to happen. So at the moment I don't actually have like a lovely hand knitted hat. I'm thinking I'm going to knit the school run beanie or school run hat by Laura Penrose from Penrose Knits. I actually test knitted this for her last autumn, but a smaller size, a toddler size, even though I didn't know any toddlers at the time. But I just thought, oh, I really wanted to test knit for Laura because she was like the first podcast that I watched, and she's an amazing designer as well. All these three are Cray Bayer, Knit Pearl Girl, Penrose Knits, and they put a lot of time and energy into making patterns like really like size inclusive and also, you know, perfect for like a modern knitter, but also using some more traditional techniques. Like I just love them all. So I might knit the school run hat. It's got a lovely like picot edge to it. I knitted on double pointed needles when I did the test knit and it came out huge. I remember feeling like really disgruntled, and Laura was like, oh, it's because you've used EPNs, like your tension just must be off because you've used those. But since then I've used them more and I feel like I could do it. And it would fit me. But it's just time now, isn't it? I'm doing this. The baby could come tonight. I might not be able to edit this. Or I could put it on and then 2 weeks go by and I'm still knitting this sneaky sock for my husband. So this is the problem. I love this hobby. Knitting is a huge part of my life. I just wish I could do it quicker. I wish I was a fast knitter. So yeah, I do have plans. Whether they're going to happen or not anytime soon, we will see. But for now, I think that's everything. I think if you do have any ideas of what I can use for that drop there or that fuzzy wuzzy gorgeous like spring chicken colour, then let me know, because that would be great. And I'm going to try and finish this sock at some point and that jumper, even though he definitely knows that that something's afoot, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thank you for getting this far if you did. This might be the only one I ever do. It might be the inaugural one. I do loads of them. We'll see. And until then, happy knitting, happy buying of yarn and squishing of yarn. And yeah, I'm Hannah. This has been KnitOnePurrrTwo. And thanks for watching.